Welcome to I'll Be There, the ultimate wedding podcast by Priya
and Nim
from Pristine Events. Whether you're a bride-to-be
or a groom gearing up
or just a wedding lover at heart, we've got you.
Welcome back to another episode of I'll Be There by Pristine Events. I'm Nim.
I'm Priya.
And today we have another special guest. We have Roshni with us from Shagun Weddings.
Hi.
Who is one of the founders and directors. So we're really excited to have her here, and let's start the discussion.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, Roshni actually did mine and Nim's civil wedding at Kew Gardens. So again, another cute full circle moment to be here. We actually work with Shagun and Roshni, I'd say almost on a weekly basis. We do a lot of events together. So they are, if you haven't seen them in action, they're an incredibly well-oiled machine. Their decor is amazing, and I still get wowed by it, even though I see it on a weekly basis. So yeah, an amazing company. We wanted to have you on because actually a lot of our couples ask about decor, and I love decor, but obviously I don't do decor, so I thought it'd be good to get someone who does decor every day and get their input in. But before we get into that, I think Nim and I love always having a conversation with some of our suppliers about how they got into weddings and like what your background is and how you ended up here.
Yeah, of course. So first of all, thank you for having me today. It's so nice. Pre-contacted us for their civil wedding. It was so nice doing all of that. And you definitely underestimate yourself. You're very creative, so you'd definitely be able to do what I would do. I have been in the wedding industry now for 10 years, which seems like a crazy amount of time. I am part of Shagun Weddings. For those of you who don't know, we are a family-run outfit. We absolutely love what we do. And I think that we really try to just look after our clients in the best way possible to try and kind of tailor to their needs. Not to bore you, but just to kind of give a bit of a summary, we provide mandap decor, so we quite heavily focus around mandaps, reception decor and all pre-wedding decor, and we have clients who come to us with mood boards, or we help them to kind of really design what they're looking for their big day as well. What else can I say? I work with my mum, I work with my dad, I work with my husband, I work with my cousin brother and his wife. So a bit of a crazy scene in our office.
How do you find that? It must be so fun.
It is. I think there's always a fine line with like family, but I think that 10 years having done this and hopefully not done too badly at it.
No, you've done amazingly.
I think us six work together.
Really
we do.
well.
And everyone always asks me, how do you work with your mum and dad? I would say my mum's one of my best friends. So it really does work in that way. Yeah.
That's so nice. And how do you find working with your husband? Because people often ask Nim and I that. Like, how do you find the whole home life, work life? Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to define your boundaries, right? Like you end up talking about work a lot.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm sure it's the same with you guys, but I feel incredibly lucky. I think that balance is quite a hard one to juggle. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, there's been arguments.
Of course.
There will be arguments between me and him. But I think that we both have the same frame of mind and we have the same intentions, the same goals. We kind of also know what Shagun is and what it does for us, and therefore we're able to we make it work.
Yeah.
It does get tough when you also have two kids as well.
Yeah.
But as long as your kind of route and path and where you're heading is in the same way, you get there.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that obviously like, it's good that you're aligned in the same goals that you have. I mean, I think that's the same with us, but I would say that like Priya and I are like completely different. And I think for what we do, it works because there's one person who we say this all the time, like looks after the logistical side, which is me, and then Priya's more the kind of creative, with the couple, making sure they're okay. Is that the same with you guys, or like everyone has their slight different?
So between me and Jit, we are actually polar opposites.
Okay.
And 10 years of marriage has actually made us more the same person.
Okay.
I have to remember this podcast is not about us. No, it's we have a very different skill set. So he's more logistical and I'm definitely more kind of the creative side. Actually, how we've mapped out the six of us and how Shagun works is that the main owners of the business take on different aspects of it as well. So me and my mum both do the creative aspect where we meet clients, we understand the client's needs, and then basically deliver the events on the back of that. Kieran, who is actually logistics lead, and my husband is actually more on the finance side. So we've all got different aspects. But one thing I'll say is that I think when clients come and see us and when they see the whole outfit together, actually really I think warms them in a way, because we from the very outset, from when you meet us, you're kind of thrown into a WhatsApp group with the whole family essentially, and that's kind of like you've got different people feeding in at different points, and if not one person if they can't respond, someone else will get back to you, and that kind of like quick trying to lead time obviously gets a little bit harder during the wedding season, is something we kind of pride ourselves in. So it has worked, and hopefully it's still working. So.
No, I think it definitely is. And I think you had mentioned that you've been married for 10 years and Shagun's also 10 years. So you started this the year you got married.
Madness.
Oh my
madness.
God. So tell us a little bit about like a summary
actually
maybe.
Starting.
Presumably
well, you guys weren't far off.
Yeah,
that
no,
anyway,
I know.
But I think yours was a little bit further out. But so I got married in October 2015 and went on a honeymoon to the Maldives and Dubai. I was in Maldives and my mum FaceTimed me saying, I think I want to start up a decor company.
And your mum messaged you?
Oh. No, she FaceTimed me
While
I was on honeymoon.
I love that.
And then I said, okay, just hold your horses. Let's just kind of like discuss it once I'm back. So that's what we did. And then I think by January, we had like our first stock delivery come in. We'd done an exhibition. We just moved really
that's
fast.
so fast.
But it was meant to be a hobby. It's just a hobby, like a side hobby.
Thing,
We started with Mendy's. We never thought we would go to like Mundups, etc. But then we did an exhibition. Actually, I think just threw it a bit out of kilter. So we just realised actually this is kind of really fun. I was in corporate finance before, so for me, I loved my job prior to this. But then I think the wedding industry just won me over after 2 or 3 years of doing both. And so it was complete madness. Me and my husband have literally done it from the beginning.
Wow. I love that it was your mum that came up with the idea.
Yeah, completely.
And was that after doing your wedding maybe that you guys had an idea of?
Yeah, and Kieran, who's head of logistics, was very involved in my wedding.
Okay.
So he basically helped plan the whole thing. So for us, it was like a no-brainer.
You knew you could always already work together well. So
exactly.
Kind of,
Was it slowly, one by one, kind of more family members joined in, or was it kind of everyone?
From the outset.
Okay.
From the outset, everyone joined in. No one's tried to join.
That's so nice that you kind of had the faith to believe in it. I mean, obviously, like at the beginning, you were juggling both jobs, but everyone's come on board from the beginning. That's so nice.
Yeah, and for it to grow, that's amazing and so inspirational. Are you doing something for your 10 years of Shagun? Are you like celebrating? You're doing
it. The invite?
Yeah, what the hell, Roshni? I'll be really upset if I don't.
I'm sure you'll probably be planning it. So.
Yeah, let us know. Just do like a little warehouse party. That would be cute.
Well, we haven't thought about it.
You should do something little, even if it's just you guys. Like it's an amazing milestone.
Yeah,
so well done.
I know.
Well
it's just to be honest, because again, I'm sure everyone doesn't know about her life story, but just had a baby.
Yeah,
so trying to get the baby and wedding season done.
Yeah.
So 10 years hasn't been discussed yet, but obviously I'm planning it alongside my 10-year wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
So
like a big year for you. 10 years of being married, second baby, and 10 years of your business. So 2025 is your year. Amazing. Well, that's really inspirational. It's nice to hear someone who's started balancing both jobs and then grew their business to where it has. I think from like a couple's point of view now, like when couples come to you, where do they start? Because that is, I think, what most couples are the most overwhelmed about, decor-wise. Like if you have someone that comes to you and has no idea, how do you guide them? Like what's your consultation process like at Shagun?
I feel like, again, over the last 10 years, it's changed quite a lot, because when we came into the industry, it wasn't like Instagram wasn't massively used. I feel like actually we are one of the decor companies that made it quite big to promote on Instagram. And since then, Instagram, Pinterest, and then TikTok has made it, I think, more challenging for brides, grooms, to like decipher and navigate what they actually want to have, and what sort of setting they want, and what type of venue they want, and that kind of then leading into what type of decor they want. So when a bride and groom come to us, a lot of the time actually nowadays they are either overwhelmed by the time they've got to us because there's just too much to choose from, or we have brides who, like you, Pri, came in with a very, very kind of clear-cut view of what they want, with a very clear mood board. And there are actually still kind of a proportion of couples which come to us and they say, right, we're open. We're kind of an open book. We're happy either way.
What's your favourite? mood boards or like undecided?
Priya or
Yeah, I won't be
I-
offended.
I
I won't be
I
offended.
have to say, I would say that sometimes a mood board is great because of the fact that they've spent a lot of time thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it means that they've kind of really gone around the houses. Obviously, sometimes the things that couples select for a specific venue doesn't work.
Yeah.
So then we have to edit and alter the kind of spec.
When you say it doesn't work, do you mean it physically doesn't work, or it doesn't really suit the style of the place
A bit of both. A bit of both. So I would say sometimes it just physically doesn't work. So, for example, at the Grove, we've had a few couples that will come to us and they want a ceiling hang coming from the top ceiling. Now, the ceiling at the Grove is kind of iconically known for some element of decor, which they always have running down the middle of the room. And it means that if we do a ceiling hang, first of all, the decor's covered.
Yeah.
Secondly, the lighting in there is such a big part of how the room looks that actually having a ceiling hang means that the lighting is covered. So all of these things then have to be taken into account, and then we find out alternative solutions to what the couple is actually looking for. But then also when a couple comes with a completely open, like just a completely blank canvas, it allows us to kind of understand maybe where they're coming from, what their proposal looked like, what they like in terms of just design elements as well, and then us being able to throw some ideas back to them as well. So it's always a mixture of both. But one thing that I think I would say is that I always say to couples, right, do you have any ideas in terms of what you're looking for? Is there any kind of element, like inspiration that you'd like to share with us? And we'll always try and listen to what they want first. And if on the back of that, it's still quite a confusing, we will then kind of give them lots of options. But sometimes the first call that we have might not be a call which we can give a quotation on the back of, or which we can be definitive in terms of what they want. So based on the information that we've had with them, inspiration that we've given them, we tell them to then look around on Pinterest as like the main one, also Instagram as well. And then I always say screenshot 5 or 6 pictures, only 5 or 6, because otherwise you come back with 25 and then you're still confused after that. And that's what they do, and then they come back and we have a look at that, and on the back of that I'm then able to then say, okay, right, I completely get what you're looking for, because I can pull the inspiration from all of these 5 things that I probably know where you're heading. And that's kind of how it works, and it is very much a back and forth. It is also very confusing, decor. It's always changing. I say to everyone, it's a very fluid process. Something that you book today, if you're getting married in 2026 April, you might end up changing.
What's the cut-off time for that?
I generally say 2 months before, if possible. I think because we have a big enough team, we're able to be a bit more kind of closer to the line, I suppose. And if there's specific things which we are buying specifically for them, then obviously the cutoff is going to be longer. But I think, just trying to be fluid. I always tell people that, with us, that you can always change things as well. So I think it is really important.
That's nice to hear, because I think it's a lot of pressure to decide your decor and be definitive like a year in advance, because trends change, what you see in that time changes. Do you need to see their outfits before?
No. So I always say I like to know, the main things that I like to know is venue, obviously what time of the year, because I think that's quite important, outdoor, indoor weddings, and what else is there, just in terms of like general inspiration. But the only time that I'd really need to know about the outfit is if they want their decor to be based on their outfit from the very outset. So I do have some brides who actually buy their outfit first, everything comes. It's a very small proportion, I have to say. Most couples will come to us for their first decor meeting. They may then book our services, and then in that first initial consultation I'll say to them, do not worry about your outfit colour or design, because what you can then do is go and buy your outfit, and we can then tie it all together. Some brides like it to be a complete contrast, other brides like it to complement, and then we work together then to kind of find the perfect spec for them.
Do you you're a very honest person, as I know.
I think that's a kind
No,
way
it
of
is.
saying
It's a no, but you are. And it's good. You need someone like that. But like, are you really honest in saying, like, to couples, if they show you something and either it's just not going to look good or it looks gross or does not work with their outfit, like, will you give that kind of feedback?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I probably definitely do. And I'm, even if, I should probably keep it shut sometimes, but I definitely do tell them. I think that it's also, when we are delivering an event, we have to be mindful that it does take the Shagun style as well. But I think we do that sort of kind of two-way, I think, correspondence between us and a client or a potential client will then be discussed at the very outset. And if we think, it just really doesn't look right, or we don't think it's really our style, I think that gets communicated from the very beginning.
That's good.
And I think it's important because some clients, for the people that follow us on Instagram, I would say that we're quite a floral heavy company. And I think that there are other decorators that are less floral heavy. And sometimes there are couples that are just not looking for too many flowers, and they actually get a bit overwhelmed by the amount of flowers that we have as well. And I always say to couples, there is always a decor company out there for you. And that is the way you should see it. And I shouldn't feel insulted if you don't select us, or vice versa. Because
because that's what I was going to ask. Like, does it ever get to a point where you're like, you know what, like your Pinterest board or your mood boards doesn't actually fit our style at all? But is that something that you've sort of learned now 10 years on? And maybe at the beginning, if people were like, oh, hey, actually we want fruits and structures rather than florals, were you at that time trying to just say yes to everything? And then
and that's very natural for kind of a decor company, to be honest. I think it's any business within any line in our industry. You then, or any industry actually, initially when you start, in the first 2 to 3 years, you kind of say yes to everything, and you're trying to make it work. And but then you get to a point where you actually, where your niche is, you kind of know where your strengths are and what clients are expecting from you if they're coming to you. And that is kind of where you play on, and also making sure that you're moving with the trends. Because I think the market over the last 10 years has massively changed. I'm talking about the Asian decor, wider industry market. And so as a outfit that's kind of situated within in my eyes, quite a small industry, you have to be changing. Otherwise you just you kind of like not be able to and also not be able to deliver to what probably your clients are looking for. On the back of that, you completely get that. Like, I just don't feel like everyone is for everyone.
I mean, off the back of that, my other question, which might be an odd question to ask, is that do you ever work with a client or about to work with a client and you just think, you know what, I just don't think that we can work together for your wedding next year, just because our initial conversation has just been quite like intense? Or
so I've never had to have that conversation, but if it has happened, like 100%, and I think that it just becomes abundantly clear that this isn't going to work.
Fine.
And I'm sure every vendor will have had that experience once. And I just think that the whole process around wedding planning is super emotional. It's not like going to the dentist or going, and even that can be quite emotional, I'm sure, for some people. For me, it will be. But but it's not something. It's not a routine thing. It's happening once in your life.
You put a lot of pressure.
You're putting a lot of money into it, a lot of pressure into it. You've got family pressures. So the people that you're connecting with, the people that you're kind of like, having to deal with, quite frankly, sometimes more than your friends during that period. Has to be people that you connect with. I will quite openly say to a client after having a consultation, and I will quite openly say to them, right, you for me are very much a Shagun client. Like, I don't want you to go anywhere. And I would quite happily, like, I feel quite fulfilled by the end of it, that I know that if they don't book after that meeting, I'll be quite disappointed. Because you know, of course, in this day and age, everyone's considering budgets, etc.
Yeah.
But then sometimes if that client doesn't go with you because of budget, it's still, you feel disappointed because
Yeah.
you know that you could do such a good job for them.
Yeah.
And that's where the emotions, I think,
Yeah.
kick in, and like, you know.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree, and I think anything when you're dealing with people, like you said earlier, you're not always going to be a perfect fit. And I say to exactly the same. I say to my on my consultations, I say, look, you don't have to book us, but ultimately, whoever you do book, you need to make sure your gut feeling is telling you that these people are going to make you a very good team on your wedding day, because the suppliers that you pick and the vendors that you pick can make or break your day. And I'm sure you've worked with amazing suppliers and some suppliers that have no idea what's going on. Like, you just wonder like how the day would run if like someone wasn't there like telling them what to do. So I think couples have to just base it on gut feeling and see if your whole vision and the way you interact aligns. And that's why I think gut is really good. And I think for both of us, because we obviously, being a dentist and a doctor, we work with people a lot, even just generally, I think we're quite good at picking up on gut feelings with clients and just seeing if this is going to be someone that's going to work well with us or not. And I think, like you said, it's okay to not say no, but like if things don't work, it's fine, because you know when someone's going to work for you or not. Okay, sorry, I feel like we can chat for like hours. Okay, moving on to next thing. So we talked about when picking decor, you said things to look for were the venue. What's your favourite venue? I know it's a really hard question.
God. It is, because I just know that this is going to be like
or you can give me top 3 that you work at regularly. Top 3 you work at regularly.
So how I look at it, I think this is the better way to put it. If I was to get married again, where would I get married? So my top choice is the Grove.
Okay.
Because I live on the road of the Grove, so it's very convenient.
That's so like,
my son goes to nursery at the Grove, so it's and it's just stunning. So, and then it would definitely be the Landmark. It's another one of my favourite venues, and slightly different venue. I just so I can like maybe Offley.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just Offley's like for me it's like it's quaint. Kind of manor,
it's got a beautiful indoor space.
It's a very popular venue as well, but it's and I think the team there are lovely. So that they would be my kind of
top 3. Okay, fine. So you said to look at venues, look at the like outdoor indoor space, and even the style of venue. You know, like if couples were getting married in like a manor house and the ceremony was going to be indoor, so for example, let's say like North Mims, where the room upstairs, I can't remember the name of it, the long gallery. So that room's got like the navy's velvet curtains. It's quite a dark room, so things like that, like you'd have to take into consideration when you're planning your decor there, right? Because it, I guess, in terms of like not clashing and also trying to still brighten the room, but so I think that's a really big thing, because sometimes some things won't work. Like if you were getting married in a barn, only certain styles of decor would work in a barn.
Definitely.
So I think that's a really good point. A lot of couples ask about making decor cost effective. I usually say, based on, to be honest, when we work with you a lot, majority of the couples will use the same decor for the ceremony for the evening. Do you ever have couples that have a complete different look for the reception? Yeah,
so we've got a wedding going on today. They've got completely different wedding florals and design. It's actually a Maharashtrian couple, so they are going for kind of quite heavy bright colours, marigolds, really trying to bring that traditional elements with matlis and water basins with floating candles and petals. And then in the evening they want to go really contemporary, so they've just gone really classic, white and green. The wedding's taking place at Braxton Park, so it allows for real candles as well, so that white green candle look is always really pretty. And to be honest with you, that is not, I would say it's not common practice. I think a lot of people would reuse elements of their decor.
Is it more cost effective? I'm assuming
100%, because a lot of people would then reuse arway pieces for centerpieces. Sometimes you can reuse your mandap flowers for your like the base of your head table. So there's lots of different elements you can do. And I think it just still looks really pretty. I think your guests are not looking to see if there's blue in the morning and yellow in the evening. I think they're looking to see, you know, I always say to people with decor, it's one of those things, when your guests walk in, you are then, that's when the wow factor happens. And after that, they're probably looking for a glass of Prosecco and food and to dance. So it is those 5 minutes that you're paying for your decor for and for yourselves. So you have to kind of manage that a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's a really good way to look at it, because you're so right. People walk into the room, that's when they notice it. After that, they have no idea what centerpieces you had, even what colour scheme you had. Like, no idea. In terms of, I know you mainly do obviously the fake florals, which is obviously more cost effective. You sometimes mix in real florals as well. Is that often or is that?
So we as a company actually, so I would say that 80% of our clients use fake flowers within their decor, and it is cost effective, but also I think a lot of people now don't want to use fresh flowers. So just for like from a sustainability perspective and just better for the environment. And another reason I always get is hay fever, but I'm not sure how much that kind of counts. So I think that it's great to use 100% silk, but I always think that it's good to just mix a little bit. So from the outset, started many years ago, we started adding in like gold leafing. Gold leafing, now we use some artificial gold leafing as well, but before we used to like spray gold leafing, so using fresh foliage and spraying. We use fresh foliage within our decor pieces as well, and we use fresh gypsophilia. So it just means that you've got that element of fresh. I say to people that it doesn't have to be a lot, it can be 10%. But I think the reason why sometimes our artificial flowers actually look fresh is just because of that 10% element that we add in. At that level, it's very inexpensive. And I do encourage quite a lot of people to do it. And then, we do have some people who just want to go 100% as well, which is completely fine.
No, I agree. I think it's nice when you have that additional touch, especially because they're the flowers. You obviously put them right at the top, so they're the most superficial, so you can tell, and it gives it that fresh feel. Do you do anything full real or no?
So we do. So like yesterday's silver lunch was fully fresh. Some people just want their Alway floral pieces to be completely fresh, and then they get reused as centerpieces. Over the years since COVID, fresh has gone down a lot.
Really?
Like a lot. A lot of growers out in Holland closed down. It meant that fresh flower prices just rocketed. So essentially, on the back of that, I think people have just been mindful. I think nowadays a lot of people are more mindful about buying properties before actually getting married. So everyone's budgets have changed, moving around kind of what is important and what's not. I'd also say that be mindful of fresh flowers anyway, because if you have a really hot day, like this week is due to be really hot, if you have fresh flowers, they are likely to completely deflate by the time you get to the evening. And then that causes a lot of pressure for florists and sometimes unhappy couples. So really,
how do you try and manage that in the heat then, or is there anything that you guys like? If you
so as I said, we only do 20% fresh, so it really isn't like a thing that we need to have like a discussion around. But the thing is, the times where I think that like for example, if the Alway is all fresh, then in that instance I'd be speaking to the client. If we're heading into like a 35 degree week or 32 degree week, I'd be then saying to them, right, this is what we had kind of like, all the costs are relating to having all of these arrangements. However, I think we need 4 buckets of top up flowers, and so that once we've finished the ceremony, we can then take out like any dead elements and then top it up, because the worst thing that you can have is you walk into your reception and you can see like brown hydrangeas or and those things do happen. You can't avoid it, and it's not the florist's fault. No,
we saw someone's bouquet recently, like after the ceremony had already started to go brown, and obviously she wasn't happy about it, but ultimately he, like, obviously no water, like it's just it's tricky. I didn't even think about florals in this heat actually, so that's a good point.
I mean, I stupidly didn't even think that obviously they're gonna, as the day goes on, they're gonna discolor, but then the couple and the family were so upset by it. But like you said, I don't really know what the solution would have been. Like, it's not like
especially with a bouquet, I think that's like really difficult, to be honest, unless it came like that. But I think the main thing is that couples, when they are like considering it, it's something you have to flag, because otherwise it's a risk that will come back to us. Definitely.
As long as you've given them the heads up, then that's all you can do.
And also, the more that you speak about it, actually, and maybe this is a very guy perspective, but like, it just makes me think, like, why would you want to get fresh flowers aside from just saying, oh, these are fresh? Like, sometimes I'll go to a wedding, and again, maybe this shows how much I know about flowers. I'll go up and have to touch it to be like, oh wait, this is fake, because like these days, especially like with your guys' stuff, like it does look really real.
So as a decorator, I can tell straight away. Apples to pears, like completely different. However, I think that like nowadays when like, for example, people do say they want to go with fresh flowers, I actually think sometimes it's for a reason. So either like the mum of the bride is a really avid gardener. So like she's like basically spent her like last 10 years and she's grown such a beautiful garden, and she's been dreaming of peonies at her daughter's wedding. So that would be one of the reasons why that couple would. Or if there was like sometimes been a sentimental rose that a bride wants to use for someone's passed away. So certain things that like that, in those situations, I think we're quite
that makes complete sense to do it. But I guess it's just sometimes I think, are people just doing it to say that they had?
No, of course there is that as well. But I would say that if it is a completely fresh job, like, and it just feels like, okay, this should go to maybe like the Lights of They've Been Born or someone like that, I'd be happy to refer it as well. Yeah. Because that's what they do. They have massive fresh flower fridges. Yeah. So that's kind of, you know, again, it's a skill set that they are more aligned to.
That's good to know. And that's, I think, like you said, if they do want a full fresh setup, and we've done a few of those, and they have been massive projects, and they've also been from a cost point of view, like I would say maybe triple like what you would like. It's so it's taking everything into consideration. Like, they smell and look amazing, but then at the end of the night when they all go in the bin, like, I'm literally handing it out to guests, because I'm like, please don't just like waste these flowers that we've spent all day putting together.
But we have fresh flower jobs, no one will take any at the end.
I try and take loads. Remember the other day I tried to take, there was 1 centimetre.
We were going on holiday 2 days later. I'm like, why? We're also going to be throwing it away.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was like, it just breaks my heart to see it all go in the bin. Okay, so Roshni, trends for 2025. What have you noticed, or what have you implemented for brides?
Okay, so I think what has been really popular and will continue to be really popular for this year, and things that also people are quite mindful of, starting with obviously the mandap decor element first, because again, that's kind of what part of what we do, would be people are quite keen to ensure that their ceremony is seen. And so we are doing a lot more floating mandaps. I think floating mandaps are now becoming more of that kind of the default. So essentially floating mandap is that you just don't have any front pillars to block view. It's beautiful because essentially you can physically see the whole ceremony. You don't have a pillar that's blocking your view. And they've worked really well. So we've been doing a lot more of those. I think another element that, again, this is a small element, but I'll kind of talk about it, is there are a lot of outdoor weddings happening. And so we have, and what is becoming more popular, again, becoming quite a default for people who are doing outdoor weddings, is a massive canopy structures that actually cover the guests. And they protect them from the heat. I think
you provide them?
Yeah, so we provide them, and actually a lot of our clients this summer have booked them. And I think they will be quite popular, because not only from a like sun protection perspective, but actually some of these couples wanted to do their wedding abroad. And destination weddings have become so popular over the last year that it gives you a destination wedding vibe in this country. I actually had a photographer who messaged me straight after I posted the video of the kind of guest canopy up. She goes, I actually thought that was abroad, because it does give you that feeling. Because I think abroad you kind of have to have it if it's really, really hot anyway. In terms of colours and trends, we have been seeing like very popularly a lot of blues going into flowers, a lot of toffee going into flowers. So I think those would be quite popular colours for this year, and also yellow. By
yellow, do you mean that like pale?
To be honest,
yellow,
I have to. I would say that it's both. So like a mustardy yellow. And then there's also like daffodil bright yellow as well, but being used in very different ways. So you wouldn't use them like together, very subtly as well. But it's working. It's worked really well. So, but I would just say on the back of that question to any brides that the word trend can actually be for some people quite triggering. It was for me. Also, when you meet decorators and decorators say to you, "What
vision? No."
Yeah, do you have a vision?
Okay, fine,
something like that. I don't think it was those words, right? Yeah. So I think it's quite hard, like if you're planning a wedding and then you don't have a vision, or you're wondering what the trends are. I think it's quite difficult because you're thinking, oh my God, I need to keep up with the Joneses. I would say to everyone, don't do that. Do what you feel is right.
Yeah.
And also, when you're trying to work out what you actually like, just go back to basics.
Yeah.
Go back to basics. Think about, just even go to your like own house. What is it in your own house that you like? What is it when you walk through a park that you like?
Yeah.
What is it that when you go to a shopping mall, what attracts you from a design perspective? Take photos of it, and any decent decorator will then be able to figure you out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think it is really difficult if you're not creative.
Yeah.
To then try and work out what you should be having
Yeah.
on your wedding day.
No, I completely
So
agree.
yeah,
That's really good advice, and I think 100%. Like, I don't think you should do something just because it's trending, and there's a lot of pressure with social media as well to feel like that. So I think it is important that because ultimately you want your wedding pictures to be timeless, and that whenever you look back at them, you still love them and it means something to you, rather than like, oh my God, why did I wear that color, or why did I have that theme? So that is really important.
But I think also, like, the question that you ask is, what do I see the trends as?
Yeah.
And actually, hopefully, you asking me that question and me answering it will help someone to then say, okay, actually, maybe I'll consider toffee, or maybe I'll consider a light blue with a pale pink with gypsophilia as my kind of color mood. So I completely get the question. I just think some people get thrown by it.
Get a bit scared. What would you pick if you were getting married again this year, like, as your color scheme?
So I have always liked sage green.
Yeah.
I love gypsophilia, even though a lot of people use it. I still love it.
Yeah.
I think I would go for. This is if I was getting married. This is my 10-year anniversary.
How many you tell you?
So I would definitely go down the Rajasthani Mogra route, which is playing on basically jasmine and sage green and using a lot of kind of gold pots. Yeah. Because I love that kind of feel and look. Lots of bells. Yeah. And for my evening reception, I would definitely be going classic white. Because I think when you look back on it in years to come, you are going to smile.
Yeah. Agree. That's my favourite is white as well, 100%. But if I was to do colour, I really like the blues and the pinks.
So do I.
Yeah, which is really pretty. I feel like, but white's very clean and you're always gonna love it. Amazing. Okay, I've got one more question. I'm really aware this is a very long episode, but I think it's really useful. No, isn't it? I'm asking. I've got so much to ask you. I feel like people get really stuck at this stuff, so I think it's really useful for them. What are your thoughts on prioritising big details versus little details? Obviously, as a planner, like when I can come up with loads of ideas in terms of like how to elevate your event. And from my point of view, obviously there's your main decor, but then there's also the little things like having coloured tablecloths, charger plates, textured napkins, like all of these additional things. Like, what's your viewpoint in terms of adding that in? Obviously, I know it depends on budget, but what's your opinions on them?
So if we just put budget aside, because to be honest, I don't think we've really spoken about budget that much on this podcast.
Story of my life, isn't it, Nim?
Which is fine. Let's just keep it off the table. But essentially, I think I would say I cover everything on the big and the small, because I think there's certain elements of each that you definitely need. I think that it's one of those things. It's also based on your venue. So certain venues will be very heavily decorated in themselves. Kew Gardens, as an example, in the Orangery, when you're looking at your reception there, I think you need less than some other venues because it's beautiful. It's got very tall ceilings, and also they generally comes with like quite nice palm trees around the sides. So you've already got so much. So when you're actually looking at the inside, you don't need to do too much. So it does depend on the venue. I think the big details are the things that we'd cover as a basic, so we won't go through those. But in terms of the additions, so just a few things. Charger plates, yes, are nice to have, but they do rack up in cost quite a lot. Coloured linen, for me, no brainer. I think everyone should be doing it because I think sometimes white can look quite sterile. However, if you're going for an all white look and you've got heavy production lighting, I personally think it also works. Just make sure that the linen comes all the way to and covers your legs. Table's legs. Okay. And then but the one thing that people always ask me is, okay, I could go with a white linen, which gets provided anyway, and I can have coloured napkins. Well, the first thing I'll turn around and say to them is, that napkin within the first 5-10 minutes,
Yeah.
it's going to come off the table
Yeah.
and it's going to go onto someone's lap.
Yeah.
Game over.
Yeah.
So, and therefore the colour that you were thinking that in your head, that's what the room's going to look like. It's not going to look like that after 10 minutes your guests have gone in.
Yeah.
So I always say to people, go through for the colour from the linen, because hopefully that's not going to go dancing around anywhere, and keep the napkins as white. Obviously, if you can and you have the luxury of doing both, then do so. And, you then might choose a contrast colour for your decor. But again, it depends on what you're doing for your decor as well. So yes, I do think the details matter. I think in an age where we are talking about budgets quite a lot, I think it is about kind of cherry picking what's important to you.
Yeah.
And as a decorator, I think it's the decorator's responsibility to try and help the couple navigate which elements they should be picking. Because I think that as a consumer, I don't think you, or as a client, I don't think you can really tell how much impact it's going to have.
Yeah.
And that's where you probably lean on your decorator to kind of say, well, no, that's not going to do as much for you.
Yeah. And that's why I think, go back to my point about you guys being really honest and being like, look, this makes sense to do this, and then you can save on doing this.
Yeah.
And I obviously we've had that experience whenever we've done work with you.
Yeah.
You've always been very good, and I trust whatever you say. So I'm like, what do you think will look good? Like, and then I'm like, cool, if Roshni says it, that's fine. So no, that's really great. Okay, perfect. We're going to wrap up then with, can you give us 3 of your biggest tips? They don't have to be just decor related, but for couples who are planning this year and next year.
I think the first thing I'd say is to any couple is really, as you're going through the planning process, try and really enjoy it. So I think from my perspective, actually looking back 10 years ago, and even looking at my wedding day, there were certain times where I think I overstressed on the actual day, and I could have enjoyed that time a bit more. So just a prime example, when my photographs were going on, me and my husband are arguing at that point, and it's just like, it's just stressing about small things. So really try and just ignore everything that's happening around you. For someone like me, that doesn't really work too well because I've got my eyes everywhere. But that's one piece of advice. The other thing is that as you're going into planning, I've had a lot of couples who will come back to me and say, I never knew that weddings could cost this much. And it's just become really stressful. So I would say initially just try and get a feel of what things are costing and like how you're going to prioritize your budget. I think also what happens is sometimes couples will book a venue thinking that they don't need anything else. Yeah. And that in itself is so stressful because they've used a huge amount of budget on their venue. Some of these venues are absolutely beautiful, but unfortunately you can't leave the venue as a blank canvas. Yeah. And therefore afterwards trying to push some of that into their budget means that they're really not getting what they wanted as their kind of eventual kind of overall vision. Yeah. So try and map it out from the beginning, try and have a bit more of a concise budget where you can. Not an easy task, but it might help you as you go forward as well. And the last one is book your honeymoon so your planning process becomes really easy.
Love that. Thank you so much. Yeah, they were really good tips. I think especially the enjoyment aspect, because the amount of couples I've seen, and you've probably seen, they're like, I'm hating this, I can't wait for it to be over, I'm crying all the time. I'm definitely like, oh my god, no, it shouldn't be like that the whole time. You should also like have
because
days.
you weren't coordinating.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Roshni. So can you let our listeners know where to find you and where to find more about Shagun?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me, and on behalf of the whole Shagun team, it's really nice. It's always such a pleasure to work with you guys. So thanks a lot. Also, like, really nice kind of meeting the girls as well. So they've all been amazing.
But you can find us. And whatever
so you can find us on Instagram, so Shagun Weddings UK. We're also on TikTok, trying to push and like post more on there because I know a lot of people use that for inspiration. We are also based in Watford, so I know that it's always helpful to know where a decorator's based. So and thanks again, Nim and Pri, and hopefully see you lovely couples soon.
Thanks guys. See
Bye,
you next
guys.
week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Please like, follow, subscribe for more.